Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, so it's about 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning, and I figured, you know what, I might as well stay up late and get this actual chapter review done now instead of waiting until later in the day. Just because, I probably wouldn't have actually had time until like late in the afternoon to get the video done. Just because I have some work shit I want to get done. Nothing serious, just some personal work stuff that I wanted to get done and taken care of today. But yeah, actually, the chapter actually just came out about an hour ago. I actually had to read it twice, like after my initial reading, just because some fucking shit happened in this chapter that had me like, wait, what the fuck just happened? Like it had me confused for a little bit. So I wanted to make sure I read it twice and clarify exactly what happened at those parts. So when I talk about them in this review, I actually know what the fuck I'm talking about. But yeah, let's just get right into the review. Okay, so as soon as this chapter picks up, like literally the beginning part of this chapter, my first thought after reading was, this is cool, but this should have been the ending of last week's chapter, because this one hits that that feeling of like sadness that this is Joyce's final moments, seeing Joyce and Yami talk to each other in his final moments. It hits that sadness factor that the last week's chapter just didn't make. Like it just didn't get to that point. Now, I mean, I guess you could say that last week's chapter, the whole point of the ending was to show Joyce passing on his will and his beliefs and his ideals onto like Asta's generation. But at the same time, it just like at the end of that chapter, you kind of felt like, all right, maybe this guy can survive. Maybe Marks will get here in time with the medic and they'll save him. But this week's chapter was like, no, he is dead. And the fact that you got that, and since the whole point of last week's chapter was to show, hey, he's dying. This is it. This is it. The end for Julius, and this is him passing on his will and his beliefs and all that to the next generation. It just felt like that this part should have been in that last week's chapter at the ending. That being said, though, I do want to give it credit for being at the beginning of this chapter, because now that we got to see that emotional moment between Yami and Julius. Yami showing just how long the two of them have known each other, how much he cared for Julius and how much he respected him, and the fact that instead of crying and trying to tell Julius to fight his death, he just said, "Hey, we'll honor you and we'll continue your fight." The fact that we get to see that evolution between, or not evolution, like I guess, yeah, no, evolution of emotions between Yami in this chapter, and then him going on like, no, we're gonna get revenge and we're gonna stop this. Kind of, it gets you pumped up for exactly what's gonna happen later on in the series and what could be implied at the end of this chapter. But yeah, we'll get to that. I do want to give Julius props for continuing the trope that all the best shonen characters die with a smile on their face. Nah, but in all seriousness, though, I do want to give the character props for, basically staying true to his character at the end. Okay, now, even though I do like the scene where we see Julius dying and then we see Yami, like, saluting him, saying, hey, we're going to continue your fight, I do think this is a missed opportunity, because in that scene, we see that star-shaped tattoo that Julius had on his forehead kind of disappearing along with his magic book. And I thought this was a missed opportunity to see it. How cool would it have been, dude? How cool would it have been if as soon as the tattoo disappears in the next page, when we see Yami like, hey, we're gonna continue your fight, if the tattoo would have been on his forehead saying, hey, he's the next Magic Emperor. That seriously, I would have lost my shit if that would have happened right there. But we didn't get it. And, I mean, sure, maybe Yami's not the next Magic Emperor, but that would have been a cool ass scene. You gotta admit that. After that, we check in with Lich, Rades, and them, and we see them at the magic door, which, by the way, it looks like the magic door is in that giant skull, like that giant demon skull that's just outside of Nasa's village. So we actually could see in the end of this arc, or like in the next arc directly after this, them return to the village to possibly save the people. If the characters from the orphanage aren't already dead because of what happened at the end of the chapter. But yeah, we're checking with them, and this is actually the reason why I had to read the chapter twice, because what happens in this part kind of confused me at first. Alright, so we see Lich and them talking, and like Lich is like, hey, now that we have all the magic stones, we have them in the door, we gotta place them in there, and some magical is gonna happen. And before you can even say what's gonna happen, I think it's Rades who stops him and says, hey, yeah, now we are gonna get all the power we want. And we find out the reason why the humans that don't have elves taking over their bodies are working with the demon's eyes is basically because they think that after they collect all the stones and open the magic door, they're going to get like an extreme amount of power, and they're going to be able to take over the Clover Kingdom. Which I don't understand why they think elves that hate humans would give humans power. I don't understand, I didn't understand where they would comprehend that this would work out in their favor at all. But bad guys never think that far ahead. Not exactly sure what's going on with that, but yeah, that's pretty much all that happens in the chapter. So I'm guessing the whole point of like the magic door and like keeping the stones separated was to keep Lich's actual body from escaping that bubble. So I guess that's the reason why his soul was inside of Vengeance, which brings up the question of if Lich's soul is back in his real body now. What happens with Vengeance? Does he get arrested for betraying the Magic Knights? Does he just go back to being the captain of his squad? What's up with that? Like what's going to happen with him? And I guess this kind of actually confirmed something's going to happen with Yuno in the next chapter or at the end of his arc, because of the fact that he's the only one being affected by Lich, or mesmerized by Lich, going back into his body and entering and walking out of that bubble, and the fact that he had a pulsing sound leading him to that room all this entire time means that he's important to Lich's plot at some point. And actually, now that I think about it, there was a point where they said that Vengeance had special interest in and he was like kind of showing a lot of attention to him. So that could have been Lich basically grooming to fulfill whatever role he wants him to fulfill. We'll have to wait to see what happens in the series. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the chapter. I'm actually really excited to see what happens not only next week, but for the future of this manga. Basically like what's going to happen with and Vengeance. What's going to happen with the Magic Emperor, who's going to become the new Magic Emperor after this. How Asta react to his village possibly being attacked if they do get attacked. Yeah, I just can't wait to see what happens next. But that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Comment down below with your thoughts and theories, and catch you guys later. Peace.